Hello friends, welcome to Eerie Flicks. Today's story revolves around a frightening incident that occurred during a couple's journey. This is a true tale shared with us by a brother from Balochistan. Before beginning the story, I request you all to seek the protection of the Almighty. Let's start the story. This happened 6 years ago when I was a manager at a guest house in Balochistan. It was December and the cold was intense. During those days, there was a significant influx of tourists. One night, around 2 a.m., a married couple arrived at our guest house seeking accommodation. Unfortunately, the guest house was fully booked, and I apologized to them. However, the husband informed me that his wife was unwell, and due to her deteriorating health, they couldn't continue their journey back home. Considering the late hours and the unavailability of other guest houses, they requested me to arrange a room for them. Observing the wife's condition, with her eyes frequently closing, it seemed as if she was in deep sleep and her health was visibly deteriorating. Concerned for their well-being, I assigned them a room meant for the staff, assuring them that once a room became available in the morning, they could shift. The husband thanked me, and they quickly took his wife to the room. Later, as I sat outside at around 4 a.m. smoking a cigarette, I heard a strange laughter coming from their room. It struck me as odd since they were distressed just a while ago. Ignoring it, I continued without dwelling on the peculiar sounds. At one point, I glanced toward their window and noticed the bedroom lights repeatedly flickering on and off. It seemed like someone tall was standing near the corner of the bed, visible only when the lights were off. Initially, I thought it might be my imagination and went back inside. After a while, I heard crying sounds from their room. Now, I was genuinely perplexed. Sometimes there was laughter, and other times crying. After listening for a while, I mustered the courage to knock on their door. The husband opened the door, and I inquired about their well-being. He casually replied that everything was fine, they were sleeping. His expression indicated as if he had just woken up. I apologized for the disturbance and wished them a good night. This was an unprecedented experience for me, and I couldn't comprehend whether what I heard and saw was real or just my imagination. The next morning, a room became available, and I called the room service to shift them. The couple who came last night shifted them there. Just then, a call came on the couple's room phone. I answered, and it was the husband urgently requesting a doctor. They were distressed because his wife had fainted and he was unable to revive her. Upon hearing this, I became concerned, and the memories of last night flooded back into my mind. In a hurry, we went to their room. It was unusually cold, pitch dark, and no lights would turn on. His wife lay straight on the bed, covered completely with a blanket. Meanwhile, the doctor arrived and, during the examination, noticed marks on her face and hands as if someone had harmed her with nails. The doctor administered a drip and assured that she would regain consciousness soon, explaining that her immune system was severely weakened and her blood pressure had dropped significantly. The husband stood silently and worried on one side. I approached him, questioning whether he had caused harm to his wife last night, considering the sounds of distress. Hearing this, he looked surprised and vehemently denied, claiming he was exhausted and had fallen asleep. Accepting his explanation as a family matter, I prepared to leave. However, as I was about to exit, the husband called me back. He explained that his wife had been behaving strangely since yesterday evening. Her voice had changed, and when they entered the room last night, she quickly started eating raw meat from the fridge. Upon seeing her, I was terrified. She began to laugh strangely and started scratching her face and hands with her nails. I immediately started reciting verses from the holy book, and as soon as I began, she started crying in a disturbing manner, eventually collapsing on the bed and remaining unconscious. After witnessing all this, I too was filled with fear. Just when we thought her wife had no movement, she suddenly rose from the bed. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes were bloodshot, and she angrily stared in our direction. While looking at us, she spoke in a man's voice saying, "Leave this place." Witnessing this with my own eyes, I was petrified, and as we hesitantly resumed recitation, she fell back onto the bed. Realizing that there was a spiritual issue at play, we locked her in the room and I went with her husband to seek the help of a religious scholar. We explained the entire incident to the scholar and invited him to accompany us. Since there were other families at the guest house and it was a busy season, we wanted to keep this matter discreet. The scholar agreed and went with us to wait outside the room while we went in. After a while, when the scholar emerged from the room, he informed us that a jinn had taken control of the wife's body and wanted to take her away. The jinn revealed that it had been present on the tree in the park where they were sitting the previous evening. To resolve the situation, the jinn demanded a goat to be brought to the park and its meat placed under the same tree at night. If we complied, the jinn would spare the wife's life, otherwise it would continue to haunt her. Distressed by this revelation, the husband procured a goat and placed its meat in the park as instructed, and after a while, his wife's condition normalized and the jinn departed. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such tales and incidents. If you have any similar experiences or stories to share, feel free to send them to our provided email address.